Have you ever heard that strange behaviors or events occur more frequently during a full moon? This is a common belief, but what does the science say? This myth, steeped in folklore and superstition, has been around for centuries. It's been said that during a full moon, emergency rooms are busier, crime rates spike, and people just act a bit odd. But when we turn to scientific research, the story changes. Numerous studies have investigated this lunar effect. They've looked at everything from hospital admissions to crime rates to animal behavior. And the consensus? There's no significant correlation between a full moon and these supposed increases in unusual behavior or events. Sure, we've all had those full moon moments, but they're more likely the result of confirmation bias, noticing when things align with our beliefs and disregarding when they don't. So it turns out the full moon might not be as influential as it's often made out to be. Many people believe that humans only use 10% of their brains, but is that really true? This concept, often attributed to psychologist William James, has been perpetuated in popular culture, suggesting that unlocking the remaining 90% could unleash untapped mental powers. However, this is more fiction than fact. Neuroscience tells us a different story. Our brains, though not always firing on all cylinders, do use almost every part. Each region of our brain has a specific function, be it controlling our heartbeat, enabling us to recognize faces, or solving complex problems. Modern brain imaging techniques like fMRI and PET scans show activity coursing through the entire brain even when we're at rest. This doesn't mean every neuron is firing at every moment, but it does mean that over the course of a day, we use far more than just 10% of our brain. So it seems we're using more than just 10% of our brain after all. Have you ever been told that being cold or wet can cause you to catch a cold? Let's see what science has to say about that. This myth has been around for centuries, originating from the belief that exposure to cold temperatures could weaken one's immune system, making us susceptible to viruses and bacteria. However, modern science has largely debunked this theory. Illnesses like the common cold are caused by a wide variety of viruses, not by the cold weather itself. These viruses spread more easily during the colder months due to people spending more time indoors, in close proximity to each other. Additionally, dry winter air can dry out the nasal passages, making them more susceptible to viral invasion. So, while it's true that you may get sick more often in the winter, it's not the cold weather that's to blame, it's the germs that you're more likely to be exposed to. So it's not the cold weather itself that gets us sick, but the germs we're exposed to. Many believe that consuming sugar leads to hyperactivity, especially in children. But is there any truth to this? This notion, surprisingly, is rooted in a study from the 70s, which suggested that refined sugar could cause hyperactivity. However, the researchers didn't use a control group, a critical part of scientific testing. Since then, more rigorous studies have debunked this myth. A comprehensive meta-analysis of 16 studies, published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, found no significant link between sugar and hyperactivity. These studies used double-blind methods, meaning neither the researchers nor the children knew if they were consuming sugar or a placebo. The results? No noticeable change in behavior whether the children consumed sugar or not. It seems that the idea of sugar causing hyperactivity is more perception than reality, often influenced by expectations and environmental factors. So sugar might not be the culprit for your child's next energy burst. Is it true that food is safe to eat if it's picked up within 5 seconds of being dropped on the floor? Let's find out. The 5-second rule is a familiar concept to many of us. The idea being that if food is dropped on the floor and quickly picked back up, it's still safe to eat. This myth has been around for a while, maybe even since the time of your great-grandparents. But let's set the record straight. Food safety isn't determined by the speed of your reflexes, but by a multitude of factors, including the cleanliness of the surface, the type of food, and the amount of bacteria present. A moist piece of food, for example, can pick up bacteria instantly, while a dry one may take longer. And a clean kitchen floor is different from a public restroom's floor, isn't it? So the 5-second rule might not be a reliable guide to food safety after all. Some believe that hair and nails continue to grow after death. But is this really the case? This myth has its origins in observations made post-mortem, where it seems as though hair and nails have lengthened. However, the reality of this phenomenon is a bit different. After death, the human body undergoes a series of changes, one of which is dehydration. As the skin loses its moisture, it contracts and pulls away from the hair and nails, creating the illusion of growth. But in actuality, the hair and nails have remained the same length. It's also worth noting that hair and nail growth are processes that require active cell division. This activity relies on the body's metabolism, which comes to a halt after death. Therefore, without the necessary biological activity, hair and nail growth simply cannot continue. So, it turns out hair and nails don't continue to grow once we've shuffled off this mortal coil. There's a popular belief that shaving makes hair grow back thicker and darker. Is this true or just a fairy tale? This myth has been around for ages, passed down through generations, often leaving many of us reaching for the razor with a touch of trepidation. Let's untangle this follicular folklore. Our hair is dead tissue, and shaving it doesn't affect the living part of the hair, which is the follicle, buried deep in our skin. The thickness and color of our hair are determined by genetics, not by the number of times we shave. When we shave, we're merely cutting off the tapered end of the hair, making it appear blunt and potentially darker as it grows out. But rest assured, this is a temporary illusion, not a permanent change. So the next time you pick up your razor, shave away without fear. So it seems shaving doesn't quite have the impact on our hair that we thought.